Hi, I'm Heidi Jones, Integrative Health Coach, and thank you so much for watching this video. By the end of this video, I am going to have taught you a technique that you can use, a coaching technique that you can use to help you set up correct strategies and systems for you to be able to go out and actually work on the goals that you set or the tensions that you have for your life moving forward. I'm going to use a real example from a client, a past client that I've had, to be able to help put perspective on what the activity is. The very first thing that you need to do is make sure that your goal is specific. You can use SMART goals, but as long as you get that goal to be as specific as you can, the easier it is for you to be able to get started and to be able to set up some systems and strategies. So for example, I had a client that came to me with the goal of financial freedom. This is a great goal. We all understand what that means, but what it looks like in our life and how to achieve it is a different thing. It's a different thing altogether. We had to break it down into what specifically does financial freedom mean to that person. And what it resulted down to, after some brainstorming and some self-reflection, really come down to creating an investment portfolio for that person. So they're able to have some control over their future. That is a very good starting point, just for the fact that you can actually create action. You can take steps towards achieving milestones, and you can see progress along the way when you're creating an investment portfolio, rather than just that sense of financial freedom. So that's really important to start with, is to make sure that the goal is specific. The next step is to really look beyond the goal itself and to think about who is going to be needed, who is going to help you along the way. Because no matter what goal you set, you cannot do it alone. No matter how much you think you can, the more that you look for the support network around you, the better. And I'm talking about, yes, it could be your family need to know about your goal because you're going to spend time specifically on that goal, but also the people in your life that are able to help you along the way. So perhaps for this client in particular, worked in a company that has plenty of resourceful people within this field, and they needed to start pinpointing who they could then perhaps take out for coffee, perhaps arrange a meeting with. And then looking outside of that, who's the external network, the external support that you can then bring into the picture as well. And yes, that could be a coach, perhaps that could be a financial advisor, for example, when it comes to this particular client. Really important step. So before you even start thinking about all the different things that you're going to do yourself, take a step back and start a big brainstorm of ideas of who is it that would be able to support you along the way with this goal, and how you can reach out to them and what purpose that would, what they would actually bring to the table is a super important one as well. The next one is then really to create a bit of a schedule for yourself. Without deadlines, without a plan, you are going to find it very difficult to actually see progress happen and be able to kind of track the progress along the way and make sure that you're heading in the right direction. So you really need to break it down again. Don't just put a random deadline. It's really about looking at what's feasible for you and your lifestyle. Most people that are watching this video are going to have family, are going to have perhaps work that they're doing, perhaps holidays that they've got. This all comes into consideration, and we need to be realistic with our time plan. When it comes to creating an investment portfolio, the time plan can take years, but what you want to do is, what can you achieve perhaps in the next 12 weeks? What's realistic for you in the next 12 weeks? And get the calendar out in front of you and block specific times. Like you're setting yourself a meeting, block specific times for you to work on this task. Because if you don't, life will get in the way and it will distract you. Okay, it's really important that you prioritize this and that you create space for it in your life. Maybe you need to remove certain things from your life in order to focus on the goal. If you're someone who works out every single day, maybe one of your workout days is taken away and this is put in that spot instead. And then from there, it's looking at, well, what skills and resources are you going to need to be able to achieve this goal? Most of us set out just thinking that we're just going to chip away at something, but actually we need to usually learn more, maybe perhaps learn a new skill, perhaps invest some money into it as well. So What are the resources required for you to be able to move forward with this goal and actually make good progress, and not just about having a little read here or tapping into something on the internet, or I might do this, I might do that, or that might be good to download. Actually, what resources are going to really help you and move you forward? What can you leverage on that exists already, perhaps, is another way to look at it. Once you have that in place, this is like a big plan. I suggest you get a huge big piece of paper, big pad, and write all of these things down. And once you have this plan out in front of you on black and white, you've then kind of got a new perspective on it, and it becomes very actionable. And from there, you're able to create your own action plan. You can highlight what can be done first, put a priority on what has to be done first before you can move to the next part. And you just break it down into actionable steps that you can tick off as you go. And from there, you should really be able to have a big plan. You know what you've got to do. You know the time frame that you've got. You've got the time slot set up. You've got the resources outlined. You've got the people in your life who are going to support you. Then you just have to identify your very first step. And with that first step, I prompt you to share it with somebody and to reward yourself once you take that first step. Because once you start and you go all in because you've got your plan there, you're going to be so much more engaged and excited about moving forward with the goal, which is really important. One of the strategies in itself is to keep the excitement going, the motivation going. Motivation comes through action. So once you take that first action, go and reward yourself and see it as part of the journey to really moving forward with where you want to be in your life.